Well, thank you for joining me for another video. We normally talk to top international and Australian executives, and today we have Rod Lappin. He is the President of Asia Pacific Mature Markets, and you've just been promoted from Vice President to President. It's all happening in April. So thank you very much for joining us today. Thanks for your time.
Now, to be here, Alex.
We were here for the TECHmyway event,
yes,
which was featuring Ashton Kutcher and a couple of other Australian innovators. We'll come to that in a moment. But you've spent a lot of time in Asia, and so the answer to my first question is, for me, is yeah, but to you, is it anata wa nihongo no hanashimashita ka?
今日本語話せるんだけど、今の面接で話せないんですね。
Well, everyone who speaks Japanese can understand that, but I couldn't. But my question simply was, can you speak Japanese?
I can speak Japanese. But obviously not for this interview.
Sure. So tell us quickly a little bit about your history. You were telling me before, you've been in Asia for many years, and that's the growth area, and you love it.
I do, yeah. I love Asia, and I think that's half of the world's population's up there. Very, very compelling. Technology proliferating through everywhere. Very, very different levels of maturity, from Japan and Australia through to Vietnam, India, China. It's an amazing environment to be in. It's very dynamic, fast-paced. I love that. And so I've lived in South Korea, did a stint in Hong Kong, Singapore, and 4 times in Japan actually. So I spent a lot of time up there. Very understanding family.
Yeah, I can imagine. And personally, I don't look it, but I'm 1/4 Chinese, so Asia is important to me too. And I mean, it is the growth area of the world, and of course, so much is manufactured there these days. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
So now, we're going to talk about today's conference, but what are some of the key things you've been working on at Lenovo recently? Just beyond the headline factors of the new laptops and amazing new devices.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so look, the big thing for us right now is we've just completed 2 very large acquisitions.
Motorola,
Motorola, absolutely. Motorola mobility business from Google for $2.9 billion, and then we did the IBM x86 System X business for about $1.9 to $2 billion last year, both of which came on track in the last quarter of last year. So both of those are now integrating and growing as much as we can, and so that's really one of the core internal focuses of the company right now.
And we've seen the ultralight Yoga Pro 3 tablets, and we've seen the tablets with the projectors built in.
Yeah.
But are there, without giving anything away to your competitors, are there any other hot areas of technology that you're working on that you'd like to see integrated into future products, or is it all top secret?
There's some top secret pieces I can't touch, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's some other pieces we can talk about. I think at CES this year we took 77 awards, 24 of which was associated with one specific product. It's called the Lovey Z, or Lovey Zero, we're marketing. It's developed specifically in Japan. It's the lightest 13-inch 2-in-1 or convertible laptop in the world. Now, historically we've had that only in Japan because the Japanese are very, very particular about battery life, lightweight, all that sort of thing. And what we did is we showcased it at CES to see what the world thought of it. Actually, they loved it. We got 24 awards and Best in Show there. And so we're now looking at the weight technologies as well as that model to potentially expand outside of Japan this year. So quite excited about that product. The technology we put in there is very unique to get it under that 750-gram weight for a fully fledged notebook. It's quite
and that's
amazing.
with a full touchscreen.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
uses our yoga hinge.
Yep.
Developed in Lenovo.
The beautiful watchband inspired.
Exactly.
So do you think that'll come to the market by the end of this year?
We're definitely working on that right now. So that's our objective, is to see if we can get that and do some viability test studies, obviously in markets such as Australia, the United States, Western Europe. If it's favourable, I think we'll see some of that technology.
And just on that, does that also come with a digitizer? The stylus?
That particular product is actually associated with the more traditional 2-in-1, so it doesn't. Obviously, we've got
many of the
new digitizer products now.
Yeah.
In CS, we had the new digitizer technology. You can use anything, a fork, a carrot.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a digitizer. Some of the new technology we're bringing out means you can use anything.
So, listening to the talk today, you had a young lady who was Australian of the year,
Marita Cheng.
Marita Cheng, yeah.
Yep.
And that was in 2012, and she's doing a lot of stuff with robotics. And the Japanese do a lot of stuff with robotics. Is Lenovo doing anything with robotics?
I think we are, actually. When I say we're doing things with robotic, once again, we're going into the top secret piece. We're very interested in emerging technologies, very much. We've got, as you know, the company's built on M&A, right? We started 2005 with the acquisition of the IBM PC company. And then
which has been a great success.
Which has been fantastically successful.
I mean, you're still the #1 PC company in the world.
We are, 20%. And growing. We grew 31% year on year in revenues last quarter. So we're still growing, which is a great thing. So where the M&A, we did a joint venture with NEC, Medion in Germany, CCE in Brazil, deals with EMC that we've just announced. So we've got a lot of M&A type work going on. We've just announced some cloud work with an organization in Hong Kong. So you see us sort of expanding quite dramatically. Robotics is definitely in there. Wearables is definitely in there.
Yeah.
We just did a lot of software awards and wearable awards in CES as well. So you see us expanding, and as the company evolves with the market, we're going to continue to diversify as much as possible. So you'll see some robotic stuff in there for sure.
And this is another question without notice, but inspired by what Ashton was saying. He was talking about AR and VR, and we see the Google cardboard headsets. LG just announced it's shipping its own version of that for the G3. Samsung has its Gear VR, and of course Microsoft with its HoloLens.
Yeah.
So this must be something Lenovo is working on too.
Well, I think that's something that
Another top secret thing.
Everybody's looking at, right?
Yeah.
I think VR and augmented reality, I think it's definitely got a great application in the future. I think the person or the organization that works out how to be successful in it is how to make it as non-intrusive as possible.
And technology has to be invisible in your life.
That's right, it does.
Yeah.
And we saw that with 3D TV technology a few years ago. Everyone said 3D TV technology is the next best thing.
Yeah.
Everybody wear goggles and glasses in their lounge room, and everyone went, I like the 3D concept, but I don't want to wear the goggles, right?
Yeah.
So I think the secret is actually to take that technology, make it as less intrusive as possible. I think that's when it actually starts to really proliferate. So a little bit of work still in that industry, but the technology foundation is very sound.
We also saw Black Milk talking about the way they're building an incredible community and being authentic. And clearly, part of what you're doing today was to have a whole community of bloggers and people that were worthy of coming to this event. And it was quite amazing to see. Everyone was here, obviously, to see Ashton as well.
Absolutely.
Anyone in your family wearing Black Milk? I had never heard of the company before.
Personally, my family's in Japan, so no, Australian and distributed in Australia. But I think what he's done in the community building online, all the social stuff.
Everyone should copy it.
Fantastic.
It's great.
Insane. I think really, really amazing way of driving a brand new organization in what is actually quite a traditional industry.
Yeah.
So it's a great example of running a traditional industry and dropping social and media technology and a way of proliferating communities, as you mentioned, to drive a very successful business. I think it's a great story.
Sure.
He has a great story.
I mean, he had some people who were wearing the tights underneath the catalog image on his website of the tights, which made me think, well, maybe there should be some Lenovo customers who are very happy with their products underneath the product pages on the Lenovo website saying, well, here's how I use my Yoga Pro tablet too, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I think we run campaigns sometimes like that, like Yoga My Way and all this. So how are you using your yoga product in your life? And we've got some great examples. For example, we're consistently quoting the fact that our ThinkPads are up in the NASA space station, right?
Yeah.
Because NASA uses us up in space. So there's a lot of places that our communities, whether they be business and consumers, are often using our products.
Now, Ashton spoke about how, and I thought it was fascinating, he talked about, we've all heard that saying about how there's no stupid questions, and the only dumb question is the one you don't ask. And he said, well, actually there are plenty of dumb questions, especially in the age of Google, where if you can find the answer to the question yourself, and you're not making any effort to do that, then you really are asking a dumb question, because you're wasting everybody's time, including your own.
Exactly.
So he said, and he gave a couple of examples of really excellent questions he wished he could be asked, and he asked other people. And of course the first one was that he said, what is the best advice that you've ever received to get you where you are today? So I asked that to you.
Okay. So the first one for me is cream always rises to the top.
Yep.
I think my very first manager in technology said that to me. And the reason why I remember that one is I'd had a tough time, and I was in my first job in technology was in sales. And so, you go
That's
through...
the coalface.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. I was absolutely right there in technology in the sales line. So, and his position was cream always rises to the top. So if you're fundamentally good, if you've fundamentally got talent, if you've got the skills and you're passionate, the enthusiasm, ultimately you're going to succeed. Yeah. So I always remember that one actually. It's a great bit of advice from him, is cream always rises to the top.
And the second question that Ashton said he always asks of the companies he's potentially wanting to invest in, he's very interested in the people and their stories and what they're like and their passion and those sorts of things. But he always asks them, what was their high school hustle? What was the thing they did in their youth to try and hack the system and not just make life better for themselves, but for other people too?
Yeah, he used examples of people selling Mars bars, like
candy
chocolate bars or candy bars,
school,
as he positioned it right in an American accent. So, for me, the first time I could remember doing something like that was actually pre-high school. Yeah. I actually showcased and built a display of all of my toys, actually. And when friends came over and I said, you can borrow them for me, I said, but you have to pay. You have to rent the toy.
That's it.
And I think I rented one toy for about 10 cents to one of my first friends that took up the opportunity.
And 10 cents back then was a lot of money.
It was. That was 2 red frogs to me back then, back here as a Sydney boy. And so that was probably my first time, I think my parents, by the way, stopped the entrepreneurialism of that one.
Yeah. Well, for a while, my father found a wholesale confectionery store in Canberra, and we bought all this stuff, and I took some to school, and kids wanted to buy it from me, and the teachers found out, and they put a stop to that too.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was my little entrepreneurial thing, aside from helping everyone with their computer problems. Now, you've mentioned some top secret stuff that you can't talk about in VR and AR, but just on a sort of a very high up level, where do you see the PC industry evolving in the next 5 years? We've got tablets, we've got headsets, but what else can you see? How else can you see directions going beyond just new OSs and and incremental things?
Right. So I think there's going to be an amalgamation. It's going to continue to amalgamate. Right. I think there's no doubt about that. I think from my perspective, when I look at it, the usage model is defined by the user, and that's what we've seen. Lenovo's been probably the first company, like the pioneer for that 2-in-1 type form factor. Now everything's 2-in-1 form factor. Everything's LTE. Everything's connected on time. So real time. So I think you're going to see an amalgamation, but you're also going to see the usage model really defined by the end user. These days, we're seeing a lot of patterns around people actually skipping tablets. They're going straight to smartphone, to a traditional PC, because it's got the size, right? So you're sort of seeing some of that central parts of the market just disappearing. But other industries where you're applying, where you might be showcasing products, etc., in a showroom, that part of the market, tablets are really, really proliferating still. And so you see a maturing of some parts of the market and amalgamation, but at the same time you see other parts of the market where it's niching and opportunistic still for some of the new technologies to be applied to. Big opportunities still.
So two more questions. Any particular highlights from the TECHmyway that we saw just now?
I took a lot of highlights actually. I thought Marita was fantastic.
I did too, yeah.
I thought even her last statement, she went up there. She remembers the Time magazine, which had the Google founders on it, and she said they were only 2 years older than me, and I thought, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
And I thought that was really a fundamentally simple message, which was you can do it, anyone can do it.
It's a decision.
It's really about, and Ashton said the same thing. The difference between $1 million idea that's there and $1 million idea that actually works versus not working is someone actually went and did the hard work to get it done.
Yeah.
And I think his message was very similar. So I think it was a great message for the people that attended today and those who watched it on the stream, which was basically, hey, there's lots of great ideas out there. You have them. Go do something about it. And I think that was one of the key takeaways I took.
And then finally, do you have any final messages for iTWire viewers and readers and for potential and current Lenovo customers?
Yeah, well, I mean, firstly, thank you very much for your support. We launched Consumer in Australia and New Zealand just last October. We've taken probably about high single-digit share. We don't know exactly yet, just in 3 months. And so the community is definitely showing us that they're very receptive to our products. We'd like to continue that support. Please continue to look at our technology and understand what we are as a company. I think we've got a great future here in Australia, and we look forward to continuing our success. So thanks very much for support like iTWire and our community and our customers.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alex.